Hey, what's going on, everybody? Land of Troy Roundtable back for a preseason preview. Fall camp just ended. We're gonna go into prep for San Jose State and the opening of our season. And we have special guests from USCScoop.com, Josh and Marc Kulkin, to discuss everything they've seen with their own eyes because they've been able to be there in person, which is amazing. First off, welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Sir. Hey,
You
so
know,
Terry, you want to kick off any questions you got first?
Yeah, let's. The one thing, just to get it out of the way. Keaton Slovis not being a captain, is that a big deal? I mean, let's just get it out of the way because
I got my own
I
take.
can't remember the last time a returning junior quarterback at SC was not the captain.
is it a big deal? Yeah. I guess it's how you perceive it. So here's my natural reaction. He's the starting quarterback. By definition, he's on the field. He's your leader. The guys are going to either follow him or they're not. It's a little awkward, only from a perception standpoint, but I think it's probably this big of a deal.
Interesting though that the punter was
Yeah.
voted by the other players, of all people.
Mhm.
I figured Chase Williams, or one of those guys, might have gotten run at that point.
I
Maybe even Andrew Voorhees because he's been there.
I think this was purely a case of kids being kids, and we all have kids, and they all make those decisions where you're like, all right. Um, I think if you can look at some of the personalities, Vi, especially Isaiah Palomalu, some more of the rah rah guys, and practicing in the locker room. From what I've read about the punter, he
Mhm.
tends to be a more of a rah rah guy. I know Keaton is not. Um, I think they just voted for guys that get them pumped up, more or less, than because I know for a fact I was reading some of you guys' write ups on the PRPs, player run practices, and I
Mhm.
know for a fact that Keaton was heading up a lot of those. He was
Yes.
kind of like a coach on the field, so I think he definitely is a leader in his own way. So I don't. I agree with Mark. I think it's negligible.
I was gonna come at it from a different angle, and Josh, maybe you have a different perspective on this. The guys who were chosen as team captain tend to be older, more
Hmm.
mature. Keaton is still, one of the younger guys on the team. And with everything the team and everybody went through last year, maybe the older guys gave a different perspective to things. And so maybe the younger guys kind of gravitated to that, from a leadership point of view. I don't know.
Hmm.
What do you think, Josh?
Well, I think I had just listening to them do the interview after, we got all four of them together as kind of the scrum after. And they were the ones who voted, right? So they probably talked amongst themselves and who'd you vote for? Who do you think is going to get it? And the vibe I got was that there was probably six, seven, eight guys that were probably right there.
Right.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Keaton, finished sixth or seventh, right? And it just happens to be that, those are the four that were selected. And with the thing with Ben Griffith is that I know this is like overplayed a lot, but his age is like a really like big factor for the players in the team. Like, him being the older guy, him having played professional sports before, I think that's something that really resonates with the players. And I think that's something that they really respect about him because he brings that professional mentality. So
Right.
I wasn't really surprised, to be honest with you, that he was voted a captain.
Yeah. I was kind of interested in whether or not every once in a while whether or not they expand beyond four if there's obvious people, but I can because I did a poll on Land of Troy and I put the names and I kept adding names of people who might be able to be a captain. And you're right, there were like 7 or 8 legitimate people who could have been at that could have been in those four positions easily,
Yeah,
including
I thought
you guys,
Williams should have was a lock.
yeah.
I mean, I watch this guy at practice every day. When he's not on the field, when he's on the sidelines, I mean, that dude is an extra coach.
Yeah.
You want to talk about rah rah? That guy brings it every day, and that's why I asked him last week. How do you rah rah yourself every day? And it's just like, you know what? I can't be selfish. And if that's not a captain's mentality, I don't know what is. So
Yeah.
these guys, you know, they see their teammates differently than we do. So ultimately, only they can answer this question.
Gone gone are the days when the coaches did it. I know coming up,
Yeah.
if you were on defense, the defense coordinator made the middle linebacker the captain. That's by default. And if you're on offense, by default, the coach made the quarterback the captain. It was no pick. So, these are new times, right?
Yep.
All right.
Every,
You just go. You
every
want to just go?
matters.
You want to just go position by position, Mark?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right.
Um,
Start with quarterbacks.
yeah. So what are we seeing from the quarterbacks? I've seen a lot about Jackson Dart. I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen some throws that he's made personally, and then I've read some of you guys' literature on some of his throws and some of his plays. Obviously, he's growing by the day. He's still young, so he's gonna still make those young mistakes. But from what I see, the natural talent, the God given talent that you can't teach is there.
Mm.
Rolling to the right, throwing 30 yards down the field on the money, that is, you can't teach that.
Come on a spring ball. Seemed pretty obvious that Jackson Dart had the backup quarterback at least lead at the time. From what I've read and observed, seems like Miller Moss has really narrowed that gap quite a bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Mark, you want to start?
Yeah.
You want me to go? Okay, I can go. Yeah, no, I wasn't here for spring, so I just heard, Jackson Dart, I really had the lead there, but I really thought Miller played well, and he played to his strengths, which is one thing that you get the scouting reports from guys like Scott who watch him play in high school and stuff, and you get accuracy and you get a level of steadiness, right? And that's
Mhm.
what you get with Miller. He's very steady in the pocket. He's very accurate. He knows where he needs to go. And one thing that he mentioned that Graham challenged him over the summer was be more aggressive, right? And so you guys saw that clip of Josh Follow going up with one hand and
Mhm.
mossing a DB there. That was Miller. And that was Miller taking his shot. That was him saying, this is why you come to USC, right? To play with these kind of athletes and take shots like that. And so that's one aspect where I think he grew in. In terms of Jackson, like, man, he is really thrilling to watch. And I know it's just practice, but when he's dropping back in 11 on 11, and you'll maybe like see a guy in the corner of your eye, like, oh, he's not gonna throw that, and he'll throw it, and he'll throw it every single time. And sometimes it looks really good, and sometimes it doesn't look good. But the thing with me is that you learn in practice, right? You'd rather
Right.
have him learn as a freshman in practice, especially because you have that established starter in Keaton Slovis anyway. So if he's learning now, he's gonna grow through it. So yeah, I would say that Dart probably gives them an extra element, but that Moss played really well in the fall as well.
Yeah, it would be not. It would be naive for anybody to think that Miller wasn't hurt by missing his high school season the year
Mhm.
before.
Yeah.
So, Jackson came in with all the fanfare. Utah Gatorade Player of the Year, yada yada yada, and well deserved. I mean, the dude was putting up ridiculous numbers.
Mhm.
But as Miller started to, get more comfortable playing the game again, his confidence grew, and throughout PRPs in the summer, and finally, into the fall, um, the speed of the game caught back up with him, or he caught back up with the speed of the game, I guess is the right way to put it. And no one will ever confuse the two. Who's the more athletic between the two. Jackson's going to win that argument. But Miller is still, he still plays with enough moxie that he's aware of the pocket, and he's going to make the throws when he needs to. And I think Josh touched on it. Once he started to trust himself to go downfield and trust his teammates, I think his confidence level really grew, because regardless if it was a positive play or not, he was playing quarterback again. He wasn't playing afraid anymore. And so, this is just the natural step, the progression that he's been taking. As far as who's going to be number two, Josh alluded to it. I think Jackson gives you that extra element. So if short term, he's probably the right changeup to bring in the game. Heaven forbid Keaton goes down for the year. Now the coaching staff has to make a decision which one of these two guys is going to be able to lead the team for the whole year. I don't even
Do
want
you
to.
guys think though that when the depth chart comes out, they'll have one over the other, or they'll
It's
have
going to
that
be
or
or.
No, it's
tag?
gonna be
I think
or.
it's because I think it's gonna be the or tag. Yeah, no, I think yeah.
It's going to be.
The famous oars under Clay
Yeah,
Helton.
Yeah, and you know how I
yeah.
feel about that, but
Now, if Mo Hassan had not gotten hurt, would he have been legit number 2?
I think that was the
I
plan.
think so.
I really think that was the goal.
Is he coming back or is he done?
Well, he's not playing this year.
I know, but do you think
Oh, I
if he
don't
can
know.
come back at all, you think he's done?
When they're on the injured list, we're not allowed to talk to them.
Gotcha.
So I guess we could find out.
Yeah.
But I haven't asked him personally. Maybe Josh knows. Maybe
I
Mo.
mean, it sounds like he wants to come back, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
Mo.
that's pretty much what I'm saying. Does he want to come back? Is what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
I hope
think he
so.
wants to come back.
I want to be on this podcast, so I hope so.
In the
Gotta
truck.
pick it up, man.
That's one thing that I kind of dislike the direction the quarterback position has gone. That it's either you win the job or you leave. I mean, I like both these guys at quarterback. You guys both mentioned they both can contribute in their own ways. I think they both are future starting quarterbacks at USC. I mean, obviously there's only one on the field at one time, but I wish we kind of were still in the days where a guy, two from the same class, one of them waited it out, kind of like Matt Castle, that situation.
Yeah.
Or, Matt Leinart waited his time. He waited for a long time as well. So it's unfortunate that we're probably going to see one of those guys leave, but
Yeah, the transfer portal just makes it way too easy.
Yeah.
And these guys are going to talk. If that ever comes to fruition, these guys are going to have their landing spot before they actually enter the portal anyway. So
yeah.
quarterbacks are a different animal compared to an offensive lineman jumping in.
So let's talk about running backs. What are we seeing with the running backs? My guy's been hurt the last 6, 7, 8 practices. Keontae Ingram, but how's the room looking?
You mean Lendale White? Yeah, I think if there was a game tomorrow, Keontae would be more than willing to play. And Helton even said so after scrimmage yesterday. Both he and Barlow were chomping at the bit. So they're just keeping these guys out for precautionary reasons.
Okay.
Vavai's look good. He's looked solid. He's gotten a lot of extra reps this fall. Keenan Christian, Brandon Campbell. The biggest growth for those two is, and then they're blocking. Watching them pick up those blitzes is no small feat, especially when one of them's Corey Foreman or, another one's a Nick Figueroa or a Drake Jackson or a Stanley. They're running some guys at him. And I didn't even talk about the other linebackers or the safeties. So that's probably been their biggest growth. And if you want to play for Mike Jinks, you better be able to block.
So going into the I guess the first game, we're looking at what Ingram and Malapai as being the 1 and 2, right?
I would feel very confident saying that.
The Keenan Christian we saw yesterday, is that legit? Was that kind of a one-time thing, or do you think he legitimately the lights turned on a little bit with him?
He put it. I don't know, Josh. What do you say? What do you think? To me, he put in his most well-rounded day.
Yeah.
He ran hard up the middle. He caught the ball and he blocked well. So hopefully, it's not so much that has the light gone on as much as one, is he going to have good ball security? And two, does the staff trust him enough, Josh, to, give him more than, 2 or 3 reps a game?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's a pretty crowded backfield. For a while there, it looked a little bit like it might not be that crowded with Marquise Stepp entering the portal and Stephen Carr entering the portal, but then it quickly repopulated with Darwin Barlow and Keontae Ingram. And so with Barlow and Ingram both being out, right? So it's a matter of who we haven't seen in that room. And so it's mostly been BC, Vi, and Keenan Christian. And with Vi, you know what you're getting at this point. Just a very solid running back. And with Keenan, his speed is still so apparent, right? Like when you watch him, especially in an empty stadium, I feel it's even more apparent.
Yeah.
Like the way he's just running by people is pretty crazy. I think he's really grown, and I was a little skeptical on him, not because of his ability, but just because he was doing track, right? He was doing track while a lot of these other guys were getting reps, and I thought he looked good yesterday. If he isn't like the feature back, I think you'll see him on special teams. We know he can do that. Um, it's tough to say though, man. There's so many bodies in that room, so many experienced guys. I don't know if it's I don't know how many carries he's going to be able to get, just personally.
Yeah, again, if they're looking for that guy who can make, Keenan can make guys miss just by running by them. Keontae and Barlow, and I'm not mentioning Vavai, not because he can't, but just because I think people's interests are with Keontae and with Barlow. These guys make defenders miss by hitting them hard and then running around them. So they bring something different that maybe the running back room hasn't had in a while. We thought we had that with Stephen Carr, but for whatever reason, he was hot and cold. Now he's in Indiana.
It's funny because he looks good at Indiana. I seen some highlights the other day.
That might be the best place for him. The air raid system might not fit his style.
Speaking of that, and this is just maybe me jumping to conclusions based off of what I read and what I see. Looks like that new offensive line coach got the running game gelling a little bit better.
Looks pretty good. Let's
The
hope.
dreaded USC run game. How's that looking, Josh and Mark?
Somebody has some different blocking schemes, different blocking calls. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I called it.
It's just go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
We'll call it making progress.
Okay.
It's still we're using the term a whip. It's a work in progress still. Now, I don't know if I've seen any schemes that have been different. What every single person alludes to when you talk to them, from coaching down through the players, is the communication process, the simplification, where the guys aren't trying to figure out 3 different calls for one play. I guess everybody's on the same page now. So if that's about schematics, great job, Clay McGuire. The guy's always teaching. I mean, he has always got his hands on an offensive lineman almost after every rep, whether if they're in the corner doing their, working as a group, or after, running a rep during, live contact period. He's always coaching. Josh, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, when the communication part is one thing that stood out to me, and particularly because I couldn't help but ask, why wasn't this done the year before? This is year 3, not year 2, right? If anything, in a pandemic season, you think you would make it simpler then, right? If in 2020, but that's neither here nor there now. And progress is a great way to put it. Sometimes you'll be watching practice and you'll see the hole open up in front of you, and Vi will go through and you go, oh, hey, that was nice. We're just building, right? Because we've seen the lows of the running game, and they posted that clip of Drake Jackson absolutely taking out Vi because they tried to bring the tight end over and he missed again, and that was kind of the worst thing they could have done, because now a lot of people are probably going to think that happens a lot, and it doesn't. Mark, would you say that it doesn't happen that often?
It doesn't. But if we're going to run that play, let's put the guys in the position to be successful. That's the nicest way I can put it.
Because on that particular play, you would figure it's a great play by Drake Jackson, right? And it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. 75% of the comments is our blocking sucks. Anyone could have made that tackle. And on the flip side, the catch and run that Triggs had earlier last week, where he knocked over guys, great play. Okay, hard to bring down, but yet all you hear is our guy can't tackle for shit. Right?
It's all in
that was Marshall. I think Marshall Charity commented on Twitter. He was so all you guys go try and tackle Michael Trigg with full pads on.
He's got a point.
Look at the number. Look at the numbers that were on the field for that trick play. Like, just look at the guys. It's mostly freshmen.
15,
Yeah,
24, 19.
Yeah, mostly young guys. Exactly. So he's doing that against his peers. Put it like that.
Now, I don't think I've been able to know because Mark, I know we talked about last year with Drevno. You talked about the splits between the O linemen. Now, where are they? Are they close? Are they wide? What have you guys seen in terms of the schematics of the line?
I've been trying to watch that during practice. I would say it's pretty much the same. It's hard to tell if there's a difference. Maybe Mark, as a coach, when you're watching the film that they release, what do you see? Do you see any difference in the splits?
Everything is so zoomed in, and I think that's by design. Obviously, they don't want to show anything, but everything's so zoomed in. It's hard to tell anything. But the little that I did see, it looks like they're at about 2 feet, which is pretty normal.
Okay.
Across the board. I just hope that they're not doing a thing where they have normal splits and then on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 they get heel to heel touching each other. Like, okay, well, I guess they're running inside.
Yeah, I can promise you that. I can promise you that I haven't seen any heel to heel.
Oh, I just thought about that Arizona game. I was like, man, if they do this shit one more time.
I just think it was sometimes, I mean, if you guys ever heard of, if you ever heard Elon Musk talk, you can't understand anything that guy says. And I think I think that's a lot with Drevno. Drevno's just so smart. He's a genius. I think sometimes he was putting too much on those guys. He was thinking way too much into it. And you bring in Clay McGuire. Hey, Clay McGuire is my type of coach. As soon as I seen the first interview and I seen his hat all salted out, I guarantee he's got his play schedule in his back pocket. He probably dips during practice. He's my type of O-line coach. So I think he'll be all right.
He definitely gives off that old school country boy vibe.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Moving on. What were you gonna say, Mark?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Josh was talking yesterday about Keaton and Jackson Dart's Cardinal color sleeves. McGuire is probably the complete opposite of that type of.
I asked Mark, how many people have you seen do that at USC? He said 0, and I said there's a reason why.
That's the Tyler Vaughn shirt. Tyler Vaughn used to wear a shirt, and he used to wear the leg sleeves that color.
Yeah, this one though, it was weird looking. It just doesn't look right on the quarterback. Just didn't it. It, you know what? It was almost as bad as those Dodger uniforms that looked like those beer leagues.
Oh, those are bad.
Yeah, all blue.
At least we won.
So it was in that vein where the Cardinal was just clashing with the Cardinal.
Tight ends. How are we looking at tight ends? So I mean, from what I would gather, it looks like Cromahoke's going to be that steady guy because he's a consistent blocker. Looks like he catches passes from time to time as well. Who's going to be behind him?
Oh, without a doubt, your top 3 linebackers so far through fall camp have been
tight ends.
I'm sorry, tight ends have been Cromahoke, Jude Wolfe, and the Michael Trigg.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to have an argument with that.
Which begs the question: where the hell does Josh follow? Is he totally MIA?
Catching one-hand passes.
No, he's there.
That's it.
He said he's there. That's it.
I see him.
He had a great highlight play. Then he got nicked up again. And let's be honest, Trigg he's sharpening the iron right now.
So what do you think about this, Mark? In the meantime, while because obviously Trigg still has what you can, I mean, not really, but he's still young. I was gonna say he has a high school body, but he's 6'5", 250. He's still young though. Could you see a scenario where you have Cromahoke in as the traditional tight end or the H-back behind the line of scrimmage, and then you throw Trigg in at that Y, and then you have Drake outside, and you have another receiver on the other side?
Wow, you know what? If you were at practice, that might have happened or might not have. I can't confirm or deny that.
I got it. I'm I'm just a mad scientist thinking of what I would do with all these toys I got in the garage.
And you're forgetting another guy who's got turf toe right now.
Yeah, Epps.
Yeah, I mean,
Epps.
That's
he's
right.
the biggest of the lot.
Is he really?
Shoot his mountain.
Oh my God, he is. Yeah, yeah.
Mountain Epps. I mean, he might look like a filing cabinet when he runs. He's not the most graceful thing,
But he's moving.
but he's moving and he's got a pitch radius that is just, Skywalker. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I seen Clay. Clay was talking about him with him being in the Buddha now. He was saying that dude moves at 20 miles an hour, so that's why they're taking it slow.
Well, he's got the best, which blew us away when we heard this. He's got the best top end speed. So once he gets going,
Mm.
it's kind of like a freight train. But yeah, he's got to get healthy. But yeah, once that thing gets going, and once he's at top end speed, he's moving.
Is Jude Wolf looking better blocking? Because I know last year he was getting ragged out.
Yeah. Again, the Steiner effect. Yeah. I think he's going to be more of a pass catching tight end though.
Yeah.
And Ethan Ray is just now starting to get into some physical contact with the team. So the room's deep. But yeah, that Michael Trigg, man. Woo.
You think he'll be a contributor this year for sure?
My God, if he's not, I want to know why. He better be hurt.
Yeah, I think at this point it's almost hard to keep him off the field. Like I said, even if you don't want to put him on that inline tight end spot for blocking, you can throw him in that Y where Drake was last season, and oh my goodness.
Well, and Josh, he was candid with us last week when we spoke with him. For him, he knows that physically he can do what he needs to do. For him, he just wants to make sure he understands the playbook. And so if he just imagine once he starts playing, free and easy, where he's not thinking. So that's where he's at with his development right now. He's just playing. He's just kind of like a wild stallion out there playing.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing what he does best right now, like running down the middle of the field, going up vertically, catching the ball, and coming down with it. It's very simple, it's very vanilla, but you see, like, he just oozes potential, man. Like, he's gonna be a lot of fun to watch once he gets another year in like the weight room and things like that. Like, he's got some serious potential.
Yeah, and he's got the confidence. I mean, you see him, after practice. The players. To me, it's always been a sign of respect when older players are trolling the younger players. You've got their attention. They're kind of making fun of you. Hey, man, when you're up there talking to the media, don't screw up. It's that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well, we talked about the O-line before we went live, so let's talk about the O-line again, all right? Because that's the elephant in the room that everyone wants to know about, all right? Ford, Voorhees, Nyland, Jymans, and Monheim. That looks to be the starting five.
Yeah, I think left to right, you're going to have Cortland Ford, Andrew Voorhees, Brett Nylon, Liam Jimmins, Jonah Monheim. Josh, have you seen anything to say differently?
Well, for a little bit there, it looked like that wasn't going to happen, right? I mean, we came out and Jonah was playing left tackle in the first couple practices, and Cortland was running with the twos at right tackle. So that was different. But I think it's pretty clear now that was just them trying different things in case they have to shuffle around. And then Clay, Clay yesterday he's not the type to like go into any details at his like media stuff about, and for him to come out and say, you guys know what you've seen. We think we're settling in. I mean, it's hard to not say like, okay, maybe that's what they're just gonna end up rolling with: Ford, Voorhees, Nealon, Jimmins, and Monheim. And yeah, they've been really solid. I think we got a glimpse of that. I think it was a Washington State game where they had to like play the young guys due to different things. And like for Cortland and Jonah, man, you see it when they're playing, because the pass rushers they're going up against are proven guys. Like, we know what Drake Jackson can do. We know what Hunter Echols can do. We know what Corey Foreman is capable of, and they hold their own a lot. And so I'm excited about them if that's the direction they end up going with.
Yeah, to see, so imagine this: you're you got two redshirt freshmen as your bookend tackles. And at any given time, lining up over the top of them is either Drake Jackson, Tuli Tuipulotu, Nick Figueroa, Corey Foreman. That's what these guys are, going up against daily. Did I leave anybody off? I mean, the safeties, again, we can't talk about certain things, but
right.
These guys are being tested by the speed.
No, I love those clips from practice. The drills the 101s they were doing with the safeties versus the outside guys. It was I seen a lot in those few little clips. Ford, obviously most athletic, has the fastest kick step out of all of them. Monheim, I think he's brute strength. If he gets a hold of you, you're going for a ride. So, and my biggest thing is, at some point it has to be about program building, and we can't keep needing new offensive tackles every year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got it. No, nothing against McKenzie, but I would like to see a guy start and then come back next year. So I think
that was my thinking, because early on you heard, well, Voorhees might bounce outside the left tackle, but then you got another senior guy that probably won't be there next year, so you break in a new guy again. And I was thinking at that time that they may really try to really force feed Ford and Mount High, just because you want some consistency over the next couple of years. That's what I was thinking.
No, I think you guys are hitting the nail on the head. I absolutely agree. It would be nice to have, a guy, and there's now the potential to have a guy there for, 2 years in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, the NFL, sorry, we're going to be selfish this time. You're going to have to wait for your tackle for a couple more years.
Yeah, we haven't had that since Austin Jackson, right?
Right.
2 years in a row.
Right. Yeah. So for team building for the future, it's great. Interior, I think they're pretty much set with where they're going. Voorhees is best suited for left guard. They looked at him at left tackle. He could play there. I think Josh put it as a nuclear emergency type of scenario. But right now, the second string left tackle is Mason Murphy, true freshman.
Let's talk about the second string. I mean, so our first string, we're
set.
Kind of okay with that. Yeah, we're set with that. And I'm comfortable. I don't know. I think we're fairly comfortable with who we have there. Now, you go to the second string, the backups, because you you're going to use them. Mason Murphy, not sure who. You got Dedich, you got Milek, Casey Collier's a wild card right now, because no one really knows what's up with him.
He lost some weight.
Yeah, Dedich is obviously Milek, or whatever his name is going to be your center, right? McKenzie is going to be most likely your backup left tackle. I would imagine. Who else have we got? I haven't heard anything about Jason Rodriguez. I haven't heard anything about some of these other guys. Who fills out our second string?
Right. So the second string, as of right now, I think they're going to feel comfortable going Mason Murphy left tackle, Justin Dedich left guard, Andrew Milek center. That right guard is probably going to be Liam Douglas.
Okay.
And then right tackle is Jalen McKenzie. So there's your second unit. If we haven't mentioned any other names, they're probably, not going to see the rotation.
Yeah.
Is there anybody you think can crack the rotation, like a Ty Buchanan?
There's a name.
I think Ty's definitely somebody who can work up that depth chart. Yeah.
He's nasty. I like that guy.
That was the next sentence coming out of my mouth. He plays with a mean streak.
We need more like him. Let's be honest. We don't have enough.
Yeah.
He looks just like Johnny Lawrence from the original Karate Kid. First of all, so he already plays the evil villain part. But yeah, he likes to finish his plays, and he likes to land on top of you. You know, I think it's great that he's been involved in a couple of skirmishes so far this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because typically with
Sounds good to me.
USC, the guys getting the personal foul, unsportsmanlike penalties are 185-pound defensive backs
Right.
or 175-pound receivers. When are the 310 guys gonna get up there and lead from the front and get nasty, set the tone? That's what we need.
Agree. You know, again, the only thing I question, I guess, um, and again, maybe, you know, Clay McGuire will clarify it in the future. If you're going to call Justin Dedich your best interior lineman, you know, why isn't he with the starting unit? So I guess the clarification is he your most valuable interior lineman because he can play anywhere, left guard, center, or right guard? I just don't want our best guy sitting on the bench just in case we need him.
That might have been a mince of words.
Like I said, I think that's probably where he's going with it. And again, no knock on Dedich, because the guy is just, he looks like an offensive lineman. He plays like an offensive lineman. He's, you know, you don't lose anything when he's in there. And I think that's why people are always questioning, why isn't he playing?
Well, the thing I always think about is when we go against the BYU's who we play this year. When we go against, there's a few other, Washington, there's Utah,
Utah.
there's a few teams that, you know, they're gonna find somebody from Utah that weighs about 330, and they're gonna put him right on our nose, and he's just gonna walk us back right into Keaton Slovis. So having Nealon and Dedich right next to each other, that may be of concern, especially, you know, as an offensive lineman, it's all about reach and arms. If your arms are so short, those guys can get underneath you. You're at a disadvantage right away. So, you know, you got Jennings, who's about what, 6'5", and
Yep.
Voorhees, who's almost 6'7" at least, right?
He's
Both
a
of
tree.
them 325, 330. I
Yeah.
think that has a lot to do with it.
Well, Voorhees the strongest offensive lineman, right? On
Yes.
the team. That guy's just massive. People don't realize it. You know?
Yeah, I think Mark said when he was bench pressing 225, he did it 40 sometimes.
Yep.
You know,
44.
whew.
Yeah. Andrew's got one of those bodies where he's all torso and arms. It's almost like he's got a guard base with a tackle body, or tackle torso, I should say. So I think what you guys are talking about, him and Jimmins inside, surrounding Nealon, probably
Yes,
gives them
exactly.
that size that they need.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mark. Because when you think about it, Dedich only runs about 280, 290, right, at the most, if he's lucky, right? And probably Nealon probably very similarly. So yeah, them side by side definitely is way too small for the interior, I would think.
Yeah, and you saw the difference in the 2020 class of recruits that they brought in, offensive linemen.
All tall.
Yeah.
They're all tackle bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the
So-
that across the nation. If you pay attention to the draft and who's got who, that's the new trend. Landon Dickerson, the center from Alabama that got drafted, he rode 6'5", 335 at center. You know, and then their guard was 360.
Yeah.
That's the new direction that we're going. That whole little, we want to be fast and nimble and athletic, that's going away because now guys are big and athletic. So
They're reaching Max Gibbs size, man. Shit.
Dude, did you guys see that play that Ernest Green made in the Bosco game over the
Yeah.
weekend?
No,
Man,
That's
I hope-
nuts. Talk about athletic.
we're
I
gonna get
hope-
Ernest Green or
Oh,
what?
when he ran out the defensive back?
yeah, I hope.
Oh, yeah, I heard
get that
about that.
too.
Yeah. He ran down the D back after the pick.
He turned into DK Metcalf. I mean,
Yeah, that's got to be our number one on the board. That's got to be all hands on deck recruiting that guy.
doesn't hurt to have Max Gibbs on the team.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
He's lost a lot of weight. He looks pretty good.
He's dropped a lot of weight. He still has some more to lose, but
Yeah.
to say that he's lost a lot and that's saying something.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was. I did mean I was said it, but he was well over 400 pounds there for a while. I would think. He won't say that, but yeah, he was not 390.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
360. You get him down to 360, that man can move.
Yeah.
yeah.
He'll move.
You know.
Yeah, just need to find him a pair of shorts that fit.
Or sew two of them together is that it'll fit.
He tried to create his own jorts, and it just fail.
Receivers. I mean, Drake London's the obvious, right? He don't even have to practice half the time. They've seen so much from him. They just sit him on the sideline. But my guy Taj Washington, I think he is going to be special.
Josh, you described him the best so far. I mean,
Yeah, Taj is gonna put somebody on their butt on national television on TV this year. I mean, I think he's very unique in that he can take that short screen and he can just next thing you know he's 30 yards down the field. He makes two guys miss and then he's got the speed to just run by people. And man, he's just so fun to watch. He's kind of like the receiver version of Dart in a way. Like he's just so thrilling. You never know what's gonna happen when he gets the ball in his hands. He's got that level of explosiveness. As a room though, I think it's gonna be pretty different this year because I think we're used to like Vaughns, Drake London, Amon Ra, those guys just kind of like evenly distributing the catches, if you will. But this year it's different. The undisputed alpha in the room is Drake London. And when you watch him play, you understand why USC has been promoting him so much on social media. Like he's that guy. And I remember, the last time I got to see him in this type of setting was his freshman year at fall camp. And you saw the glimpses. And now he's like put it all together. Like the yards after catch, the deep balls, everything. He's got the whole package, right? And
Game
so
of basketball.
yeah, he really he plays football like basketball. It's pretty fun to watch.
It's gonna be funny because when we said me and Mark said he was gonna be a first round pick, we got laughed at. So he who laughs last laughs best. So I can't wait to see that.
But
Well,
it's funny. It's funny. People are so concerned with, everybody's going to double team Drake, and they should. But you know what? Going back to what Josh was saying, the last thing you want to do is leave Taj Washington in single coverage. So guess what? Double team Drake London all you want. If USC is running 3 and 4 wide, you got to leave somebody single coverage. Taj is. I'm sorry.
Plus Triggs being out there as well.
Right. I mean, we can go over all the different mismatches. That's beside the point.
That'd be crazy, yeah.
Right. So the concern is, well, everybody's going to be double teaming Drake London this year. Probably. They're going to start off that way until the others can prove otherwise. But you got John Jackson, who had a great camp. The dude is he's Deontay Burnett. Bigger, stronger.
Same number too.
Yeah. Kyle Ford, dude looks like a tight end out there.
If he stays healthy.
But he moves like a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I understand the concern because after Drake London, you have a total combined receptions returning of 2 between JJ and Kyle Ford. That's what you got returning experience-wise.
No, Gary Bryant didn't catch anything last year?
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah. He caught it.
And the reason why I'm not even bringing up Gary's name, he's been out during camp with his hamstring. So, yeah, you got Drake London. Gary Bryant is your second leading receiver experience-wise with numbers. And then you got JJ, Kyle Ford, plus, for all these freshmen.
So it'll be Drake London, Taj Washington, Gary Bryant if he gets healthy, and Kyle Ford. Do you see? Are those our 4?
I would, man
boy, my boy, Man Jack.
It's Josh. You see it. It's a battle between John Jackson and Kyle Ford. But I want to get to Country Boy, Man Jack, and Michael Jackson also.
They could. There's like, sorry, not to cut you off, but there's like 5 or 6 names there that they could put out there, and I wouldn't bat an eye. Like it's wide open. I think they're still looking for consistency.
Yes.
right? Because as a whole, you see the flashes, like outside of Drake, you see the flashes of these guys and what they can be. And then you see like sometimes it's not as consistent as you want. And as for me, I got to watch Amon-Ra, Pitt, TV, and Drake as the main four, and it's like those guys never dropped the pass. Like it was always like everything was full go all the time. And so I think they're still kind of looking for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, they threw any of those guys out there. In terms of, yeah, the freshmen, especially Manjack and Michael Jackson. I mean, a lot of people have these guys at 3 stars. Like I tell you, the DBs won't tell you they're not 3 stars. Like those dudes can go, especially Manjack, man.
That's two things that I pick up from this receiver room. Kind of what you alluded to, Mark. It's not going to be the same that we've seen in the last couple of years with guys standing on the field the whole time. I think it's going to be, other than Drake, obviously, I think it's going to be in and out. I think we're going to be constantly seeing a rotation of fresh guys in. I think everybody's going to play. Another element that I don't think we've seen in this air raid system that we've been talking about was the potential was run after catch. I think we have total different bodies now. We've gone away from the big Pittmans and 6'2" Tyler Vaughns, and Amon-Ra was shifty, but he wasn't necessarily that burner that Taj Washington is or Gary Bryant is. We got guys that they're going to take a quick slant 60 yards to the house.
There's some diversity. Yes, absolutely.
So
there's Katie Nixon as well.
Katie Nixon has even
Yeah. So Katie Nixon, I think his biggest impact, at least initially, is probably going to be on special teams. Punt return, kick return. He's a much stronger blocker than I thought he was. He displayed that yesterday during the scrimmage. He's getting better. He's much shorter than I thought he was. Looks like he's kind of built like Curtis McNeil. For anybody who remembers Moody.
I remember.
Oh yeah, Moody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but again, he brings that element of speed. He puts his foot down. He's 0 to 60. There's no, I'll get to 60. He's there. Same thing with a Gary Bryant. But Taj Washington, yeah, he doesn't just bring speed, he brings wiggle. And yeah, and Drake
he plays bigger than his size too, Taj. He plays bigger than his size. I will say that too.
There is I do want people to kind of maybe start paying attention when the season starts. Keep an eye on his hands.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, they're good. They could be better.
Yeah.
So that's
think about the wide receiver room. I mean, there's just so much variety in there. You pretty much have every single type of receiver you need, and you can plug them in so many different combinations. That's what I see.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about the freshman. Michael Jackson. The dude is, he's the second coming of Amon-Ra. He has that professionalism about him. He's consistently staying after practice. Trying to run routes. Whatever, he's putting in the extra work, and he's fearless. As far as you brought up Manjack. That dude is just straight country. and I say that complimentary.
You're getting at least 3 touchdowns. I'm guaranteeing that this year. My boy, man.
I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, the guy doesn't use gloves. Last week I saw him running after practice, running around, took off his cleats and his socks, and he's got no shirt on, just his pants. I was like, where's the brook so this guy can, jump off the tree into it? He's just a football player.
And this is where I would like for everyone's gonna watch this, everyone's gonna see this. There are 2 positions at USC that no matter the star ranking, no matter if you heard of them or not, trust the staff. Quarterback and receiver. It doesn't matter.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say there's just one other name that we haven't mentioned because we spoke about the tight ends and we're talking about the receivers. Josh Lake McRee.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this dude. First of all, he's bigger than he looks. He's already looks like a tight end. He's got a great lower base. He's gonna get bigger upstairs. but he's already got it, from the waist down. And that dude is fearless. He will go across the middle and he won't even think twice about it. Yeah, there's good shape. He's another guy who they can line up in the Y right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Our Texas connection is paying off, I see.
There you go. So yeah,
Mhm.
Mark, you mentioned it. People, and this is why I hate the star system. And Kerry Colbert deserves a lot of criticism for his recruiting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, what's on the team right now?
Can't complain.
Can't complain. What has been developed and put into the league? Can't complain.
No. Tell you what, Tyler Vaughn's went undrafted. He's making plays for Indianapolis.
You know what? I'm ready to eat crow. I didn't think that he was going to be able to stick. Still early.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting against him. Don't get me wrong. But it just shows that, you know what? I'm not the professional.
Yeah,
I'm not a NFL evaluator.
good luck, Tyler.
Absolutely. Fight on, man.
People get stuck in 40 times when 90% of the defense is zone defense in the NFL. You need to run a fast 40 against zone defense just to get to a spot.
Dude, he went in there as a 24, 25-year-old rookie. That matters.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Want to flip over the other side?
Yep, defense. Start with defensive line. This is probably the point of concern here.
So,
That interior.
Yeah, from a depth standpoint, I mean, the starters, Thule, Figueroa, and Sakona. I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, so do you think Sakona will start in the middle?
I mean, Josh, don't they typically just go with 2 defensive linemen anyways?
Yeah, what we've seen, and I don't know if this is out of necessity because they just don't have the bodies there. Like they didn't have a lot of people there anyway, and then Jamar was in COVID protocols for a while there. But what we see a lot, you see Nick and Tuli out there together, and they usually they might flank them with 2 linebackers, like you'll see Drake and Hunter or whatnot.
Okay.
I think when they want a bigger look, I think Stanley Taufu is the name, number 47. He's the one that we've been seeing out there a lot.
What about number 94, Kobe Pepe?
Oh, that's Marc's guy. I'll let Marc talk about Kobe Pepe.
Dude, I love
Fire hydrant.
he is perfect. He's a fire hydrant, a warthog. He's got no neck. And if that's what you want for a nose guard, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he literally is always at the bottom of the pile. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, Kobe fits the part.
Okay.
Obviously Jamar is a bigger body than Kobe, but the guy led the Trinity League with, I think, sacks or tackle for loss from defensive line.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he had like 18 and a half tackles for loss. So yeah, that he can definitely get it done.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that dog. Exactly.
I mean, defensive MVP of Trinity League. I mean, how much better does that get? He came out as a 3-star. How is that even possible? Right.
Again, I think people are looking at the measurables.
It's when that measurables and your parents didn't spend thousands of dollars on camps.
But what I like about this defensive line, and I brought this up with Coach Soto, is across the board the body types are pretty similar, so that allows a lot of versatility where they can ship guys around and they kind of get exotic with their looks. So seeing Nick lining up over the ball is nothing new. I think maybe Todd Orlando is going to go back to his days when he was defense coordinator at Houston. When they had Ed Oliver. That dude was just a freak of an athlete.
That's a
They
monster.
got a couple of those on this line right now.
So I'm guessing Mobley's look good with his hand in the ground, and Jacob Lichtenstein, he's
Jacob is a big dude.
Yeah, that dude is
He
huge.
could stand up on one side of the line by himself and hold that up. So,
Kind of look like JJ Watt in pads with a different number.
yeah, I like him a lot.
He's got to stay healthy too, though.
Yeah, he's going to be in the rotation, though. I would imagine if he's healthy. I think he's a name. Dejon Bent, another guy that they move him around a lot too. You see 79 standing up. So they move all these guys around, and I think it's partly a TO thing, and I also think it's a big thing. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up deciding to do. I'd imagine it depends on who you're going up against and what that team is throwing at you. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
I mean, it's interesting because here we are, saying how little depth, but we just threw out a lot of names, for the D line. So it may not be as dire as, I mean, it's always nice to have more, but
Yeah, it would have been nice to have Toa, but we know how that goes.
Toa and Peely both, right? I mean,
Right.
if we still had Toa and Peely, I mean, we wouldn't even be having this discussion
Hey,
at all.
got an SEC dude just waiting to get in condition.
Oh yeah, that dude.
Also,
yeah,
Sofer too.
Saucer could be a monster if he's.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing conditioning. I mean, how about his injury? Is it rehabbed or he's still not? Once he gets conditioned,
And he's an enigma. I don't know how well.
It's hard to figure out, man.
Yeah, you see him and you go, wow, man, there's a body. That's the guy they want to put over the ball. But then he's just, he's kind of marking the beat of his own drummer. He's out there. We talk about laid back, slow motion, just kind of rolling.
He's a Bama boy. He's a Bama country boy too, isn't he?
Is he from Alabama or from Louisiana? I know he's from.
Yeah, I think
he's from Louisiana.
I think he's from Louisiana.
Yeah. He's from that neck of the woods.
Yeah.
There's a banjo playing in the background somewhere.
I think a detail that I picked up that I really like, and this is coming from the shrimp stash, old Bobby Steiner. The ends all weigh more, so it looks like Thule's up to 280. Liechtenstein's up to 280. All these guys. Yep, Figueroa's up. So even though they're not gonna, they're still ends or they're still slated to play in that 4 eyes position, 280 isn't too far off to play over the nose. So I think that's good.
Yeah, and again, with the way, they like to be aggressive, they're all about getting into the gaps. So, I think the guys at the size they're at are probably going to be more efficient or more effective doing that than, say, a Jay Toya who was, 330, or even a Kobe Pepe. Again, depending on what you're going up against,
right?
They'll rotate. But I think in general terms, across the board, you've got a bunch of guys who are, 6'5" and just big. 280 to 290 in that range, 275 to 295.
Linebackers, obviously Drake Jackson, right? On that one play he made in practice anyways, you saw him and Hunter Echols on the field at the same time. We're going to see something like, have you been seeing that on occasion, or is Hunter still backing up Drake?
No. Yes. I mean, I think you're going to, but Hunter, when you were seeing a lot of Hunter, it was because Drake was out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've seen them on the field together. We've seen Drake and Corey on the field together. There's been a lot. Again, there's a lot of rotating going on the defensive side of the ball.
I heard Falanico's had a really good camp too, huh?
He popped in the last scrimmage. Yeah, he popped in the last scrimmage for sure.
Yeah.
Giuliano is probably going to make a big impact on special teams. But if you need to roll him out there on, some third down, packages where he can just get after the quarterback, he's a threat with his speed. I mean,
what is he up to now? Is he at least in the 240, 250 range?
He looks around 240.
Yeah.
He's just, he's always going to be that long, lanky, Mike Morgan looking type of guy. For anybody who remembers that.
Yeah, I remember Mike Morgan. 6'3", 6'4", number 17.
Hunter Echols, he's tall. But he's gotten bigger. I mean, much bigger, much thicker.
My thing for Hunter has always been, I know you can go pin your ears back on the pass, but I need you to set the edge on the run. That's always been my thing for him.
It looks like he's put some focus on that so far through camp. because again, he looks bigger.
That's definitely good to hear.
Um,
Now inside, my boy number 58, has he been practicing every day? No setbacks.
that Josh, how am I supposed to describe him? He's my medicine.
Mark, here's what I told Mark. Solomon Tulipupa is the drug he can't get off of. Like Mark always tapped me on the shoulder, like, yo, look what Solo's doing. Look what Solo's doing. And of course, he's a beast, man. Like when he does rehab, like he does rehab differently. Like when he's like lifting a sled and stuff, that's a different dude out there.
I'm looking for the littlest sign that he is about to hit the field and be able to participate in some sort of contact drill. Because then I know he's that much closer.
So for the guys,
for
the guys who are there, Mauga obviously he's set, right? He's
I think right now the battle is to who's gonna play next to Kanai inside. It's been Raymond Scott and Raylan Goforth going back and forth.
Who do you like?
Man, there's no drop off. I think Raylan is probably a little bit better right now in run support. But it's so negligible, and I don't want to disrespect Raymond in any way by even making that differential.
He's had a good camp though.
They'll rotate.
Yeah,
I got a good question for Josh and Mark. Do you think by mid-season Rajon Davis would be next to Kanai?
I think Rajon is better suited on the outside right now. Right now.
How about Julian Simon?
I think Julian is more of an inside guy.
Yeah, I think that's one thing about T.O. that we've learned is, one, he takes his linebackers very personal. Last season, they didn't always perform. There's going to be a lot of rotation. I guarantee that. There's going to be in and out, especially with Raymond and Raylan. I see that. I think Kanai is going to be your mainstay in inside, but if he needs a blow, it'll probably be Julian Simon, and then obviously over time we're going to start seeing other people get in, the younger guys. But I expect that position overall to play much better.
What about Elijah Winston? I mean, his name just popped up last week. Is he?
Just stay healthy, man. That's a win. Stay healthy.
Yeah. We got a couple between him and Solomon. I mean, the guy's just sitting there waiting.
Well, and
to get healthy.
Elijah, he's at least had the opportunity to play in a game or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to see Solomon run out of that tunnel, knowing that he's going to step on the field.
Yeah.
Literally, he has not played in a game since his senior year in high school.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So, but as far as Rajon, Josh has had a very strong camp. He makes some big hits.
Oh my God! Yesterday he had a hit that you just heard a pop in the Coliseum, and next thing you know, you see number 9 coming out of there, and he's like, and this is how it is. We'll get to some of the other freshman defenders later, but a lot of these guys are super talented, and you can see them literally growing like week by week, practice by practice. It's pretty impressive, and Rajon definitely fits in that category.
Yeah. I don't know if he's ready to play full time in the rotation, but if they needed to throw him out there, in a quick instance, hey, go play, go play the series. Yeah, I think they have confidence in him right now to do that. So yeah, he's going to be a good one. The recruiting is going to cover up any coaching deficiencies that might be out there. People are saying, well, yeah, but he's a high, he was a 4-star, 5-star, whatever. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the star is. It matters about the evaluation. And they're evaluating very well.
He's only been here a couple weeks. He wasn't an early enrollee, so it'd be a little bit crazy to assume that a kid that came in June would automatically be able to make that transition that quickly, right? So bring him along slowly and see what you got.
Exactly. Julian Simon, he was here in the spring, and he's still learning. even though he looks college ready.
He looks 40.
That's an understatement.
I wasn't even going for the spatial college.
Yeah, he like Reggie. He's like Reggie from Bad Boys. Motherfucker, you look 30.
Well, I was goofing around with him after practice the other day, and I asked him, I said, has anybody ever confused you for a professor on campus? And he chuckled at that. I was like, no, not that, but I do get asked a lot, do you know how to get there?
Cornerbacks.
Safeties. Yeah, corners.
Corners.
Yeah, corners.
Chris Steele, ITS, right?
Yeah, those are probably going to be your starters. I mean, yesterday they had 6 guys healthy suited up playing in the scrimmage.
Wow.
So they need to get some guys back. Probably most notably Josh Jackson.
Yeah. Have you heard anything on him?
I think
okay.
Yeah, I think he's probably day to day, I guess is probably the best way to put it. He'll by opening day.
Best case scenario, yeah, because when he went down, it didn't look too good. But then, when we talked to Tio, he said he'll be all right. So good news on that.
Could be coach speak, but we have to hope he'll be ready for opening day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your starters are going to be Chris and ITS. Behind them, you've got Jaden Williams, Dorian Hewitt, Sierra Wright, and who's the 6th
Prophet Brown.
Prophet Brown. Yeah, the freshman Prophet Brown.
So Adonis and who else has season-ending injuries?
Brent Allen.
Oh yeah, Brent Allen.
But as far as cornerback, just to stay with those guys real quick for a minute, they're going to be on an island, but they've got other guys in that safety room that if they had to in a pinch, they could probably slide over there. I'm thinking most notably Jalen Smith and Kalen Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, let's just hope that Chris and Isaac are ready to go most of the time.
Well, I personally like what's behind those guys. I think we've all think that Josh Jackson has made an incredible transition from receiver to corner, and like you said, I don't think that injury is too serious. Next to him, I've always liked Dorian Hewitt. I thought he was at one point was like a 1B. I mean, could have started at one point. So I think we're fine. And then the young guys have been getting thrown into the fire. I see Prophet and Sierra in a lot of highlights with a lot of balls being caught over their head. So,
but you know what? Prophet got the last laugh yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Post practice with a really nice play. So yeah, he's been getting. There's been times during practice where coaches had to come over, put their arm around his shoulder, and there's a lifesaver kid. Go get him next time.
Yeah, get that head around. Turn that head around. You'll be all right.
Again, he's going up against guys that are much.
Yeah. Kyle Ford.
Some of those guys, you're not jumping with Drake London. This is not happening.
But look, Drake goes and gets the ball like he's rebounding. I mean, it's his until he doesn't want it. It's just how it is. Strong
safeties. How are we looking at the safety position?
Chase and IPM.
This is the soul of this defense, as far as I'm concerned. These guys are just good, and Craig Nyber has got a lot to choose from. A lot.
Yeah,
starters.
Yeah, Chase, IPM. Obviously, I feel good about them. Isaiah had a great play yesterday. A nice interception on Keaton. But my guy in that kind of safety room is Greg Johnson. I mean, I can remember a couple years ago when he was playing at outside corner, and he didn't look comfortable out there. And then they moved him inside the nickel, and you start to see like, wow, this is where he's comfortable. This is where he plays well. And this fall camp, I think he's made so much progress. Like, I feel very comfortable with him there. And so I think you have 3 very solid starters, and then behind them you have all these different types of bodies. Yeah. The Auburn transfer, Chris Thompson, when he's in the box and he hits somebody, like, he's another one of those guys, like, he just hit somebody. Yeah. Like, that was number 30. Then they've also got Xavier Alford, Kalen Bullock, who I think has a lot of promise. When you see him out there, he looks like a guy, right? Super tall, lanky, got good speed. And then you got Anthony
Marvell.
Beavers. Yeah, Marvell. Yeah, that's one name that people have thrown out for him. And I think Jalen Smith. I don't know if it's gonna be this year, but he's gonna be a player. He's gonna be a player, probably at nickel, I think.
Yeah.
But Craig Nyber's done a lot with this group, and I think they're gonna be a strength for the defense.
Caden was Bullock was running nickel too as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's where he's playing, right?
Right.
At
Well,
least-
that's another thing is they cross train all these guys.
Correct.
So sometimes they'll move somebody to the nickel, and then you move, and they flip flop a lot, right? That's one thing they work on a lot, and I think that's another thing that you'll see.
Yeah. Was it you, Josh, or was it Scott who said, there's guys who hit and there's guys who tackle, and Chris Thompson?
Yeah, that was me, and the first guy I ever said that for was EA, and then we all know how that went, but that's neither here nor there now.
That's a compliment, by the way, that Chris Thompson is a hitter.
Yeah.
But in the same regard, going back to what he's talking about with Greg Johnson, when Greg Johnson's on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude just brings it every single play, sometimes to his own detriment. But so far, he's been healthy throughout camp. And whether it's because they're keeping on a pitch count, maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, you want Greg on the field as much as possible, because it's going to make the opposition think about coming across the middle, short intermediate twice.
Would Chris Thompson bring back some memories of Taylor Mays, or not? He's not quite that big.
Yeah, Taylor Mays is out there right now, so I can see those two standing side by side.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Chris Thompson is more of an in the box safety.
Okay.
Right now, that's how I see him. I'm not saying he can't play, free, but yeah. Taylor Mays was a student assassin. He's the student assassin for a reason.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember the Penn State game.
So we looking at was Chris Thompson behind Chase, then maybe Kalen Bullock or Xavier Alford behind IPM.
Yeah, but Josh talked about it. They cross train these guys. There's really no.
Yeah.
I can't see any set rotation. And here's the other thing: when they're on the field, where they line up, you might see them shift up. Everybody kind of, it's one of those shifts.
What about Anthony Beavers? How's his camp going?
Anthony's
Yeah,
going to
I said yesterday too.
Yeah.
I would say he's more Chris Thompson than he is Isaiah Polamalu. Would you agree?
Yes. He's another guy who you feel it when he hits you. Definitely. And again,
what about the X?
I don't think we should be asking a whole lot of the freshmen this year.
Yeah.
There's enough experience and transfers that, hey, whatever you get from the freshmen is just, it's a bonus.
What about Gordon? Since he's a local kid here from Downey, where I'm at.
Again, bonus.
Yeah.
There's just you can only play so many safeties, and they have a lot of them right now.
Yeah.
6.
Or 10.
I'm personally going to be very interested to see when that 2 deep eventually comes out. I'm personally going to be very interested to see, who is put where and how much that ultimately matters, right? Because they could just put a name on the 2 deep, and then when game time comes around, they decide they want to move people around and stuff. So I'm interested.
Which is interesting because we're saying this, but at the end of the season last year, knowing that Hufanga was going to go to the draft, we were talking about how thin our safeties were going to be this year, with experience and everything else. That obviously is not going to be the case.
Transfer portal.
Yeah, it's been addressed.
Craig Nyberg went crazy.
Texas connections coming in handy.
He was living in the portal, man.
Xavier Alford, Chris Thompson, they will definitely help the team this year. But Chase Williams, he's been challenged and he's held his own. And again, he brings it every single day, whether it's on the field or vocally. Yeah.
You guys remember a couple years ago when Chase had to come in that Notre Dame game as a freshman? I knew he was going to be all right that time. Ever since then, I knew he was going to be all right.
Yeah.
Those are dark times. Those are dark times. Our secondary. I
Oh,
remember
man.
who was playing our secondary in that game. That was
You know something?
Yeah.
It's funny. You mentioned dark times. Mark and I lived through the streak of
Oh,
Notre
yeah.
Dame. So don't even mention dark times, man. Mark and I were there. You guys were. None of you guys were even born yet.
Yesterday, Josh was giving me the eye roll all day long. So right now, yeah, you don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, it is funny how fans like, oh, this is the worst USC football ever. Oh, like Paul Hackett never existed.
I mean, yeah, like we didn't have Clancy Pendergast a couple years ago.
Yeah, like-
it can't be worse than it is now. Like we
So
we had
you
Clancy
haven't
Pendergast.
until you've experienced not beating UCLA 8
Or Notre Dame.
or Notre Dame longer than that.
Mm.
Stay in your lane.
I mean, you guys understand. Ted Tollner, Larry Smith, John Robb II, Tal Hackett. You know.
Until you've experienced 3 and 8, stay in your lane.
Going back to the defense, it's one thing I wanted to hit on with Todd Orlando. One thing I really like about him is he is the embodiment of positionless over his defense, and I think that's going to help us with the Pac-12. That's one thing I feel like with the Pac-12 that's different than other conferences is you're playing somebody different every week as far as personnel and scheme wise, and in the Big 12, everyone's spreading out. Pretty much everyone's throwing it 50 times a game. In the Big 10, everyone's big, double tight, 3 tight ends that are running down your throat. SEC, a lot of the same. Pac-12, you have all of that in one. You got Utah who's gonna run down your throat. Then you got Oregon who's gonna, I really like that Orlando has the personnel that, hey, if we need to play 5 safeties in at once because they're a spread team, that's what we got. If we need to beef it up and put, 4 linemen down or even put Drake with his hand in his ground, hey, that's what we got. I love the fact that this defense is so versatile.
It's definitely it's fun to watch. They're definitely aggressive. They like to bring the heat. So, if this defense looks anything like that, defense he had down in Houston, be exciting, big play.
Well, good thing about Orlando, he's not afraid to do things. He's not stuck in his ways like Clancy was, and that was the most frustrating thing with Clancy. He just refused to do anything different.
3rd and 16, a reverse, gain of 25.
He refused to do a lot of things.
Who was I having this conversation with yesterday, or maybe the day before, that you actually felt more comfortable when USC was in a short third, when their defense was 3rd and short, as opposed to 3rd and long.
Yep.
I mean, we gave a 3rd and 19. I mean, that was just freaking ridiculous.
We're not there anymore.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, those days are over.
We're making progress.
All right, so predictions for the year, fellas.
Oh man. Go ahead, Mark.
Look, everything is predicated on this team staying healthy. This team can go, look, theoretically, the schedule is set up for them to do very well.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep Heat and Slovis standing up. So I think anything less than 10 wins is a complete failure of a season.
I agree.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
And in those 10 wins, Notre Dame has to be one of them.
Yeah.
I can, excuse me, I had to swallow that bile. I can deal with a loss to UCLA.
Whoa.
Oh.
Like I said, I can deal with it, not accept it.
If we beat Notre Dame.
Deal with it. But you got to beat Notre Dame. This is more of a national perception thing. Because you can still accomplish everything else, even with a loss to UCLA.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying, look, first of all, I don't like doing predictions because this is all predicated on, said this at the very beginning. This team is razor thin. There's a lot of top end talent, but there's a lot of youth behind it. So do you want to, again, without Keaton Slovis, you've got 2 true freshman quarterbacks. And until we know the running game works against a different defense,
True.
it is what it is. So anything, I'm just going to put it out there, anything less than 10 wins, it's not a good year.
The schedule's not real tough this year either.
And that's my point. The schedule's set up to do well. You know, when your AD says, you know, we went out of our way to make sure all of our games are on a Saturday. You know, there was a lot of read between the lines what I'm saying stuff.
By a week before Notre Dame, he mentioned that too.
Week before Notre Dame.
I like these
just like they do.
people.
When's the last time that happened?
Doesn't. So USC has decided, all right, you know what? The game has changed. We're going to play it the way the SEC plays it. If USC is going to be a national player and you want us to be part of the Pac-12, these are the concessions you're going to have to make. And that means we play our games on Saturdays. You give us some extra scheduling, you know, considerations, yada, yada, yada. And you know what? Until anybody else in the Pac-12 has earned that type of cachet, it is what it is. So yeah, 10 wins. Your AD, the administration, the Pac-12 is doing everything they can to make sure USC is part of the playoff picture. That's my prediction.
I think we're pretty much all in agreement with that.
Yeah.
You know, without getting into numbers, I think we're probably all looking at right around the same thing.
10 wins minimum.
You want to make a prediction? You're good at these.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the other guy.
I know. I didn't hear the name you said. No, I mean the way I look at it is anything more than 2 losses, right? Like you lose more than 2 times in this schedule, then you're not up to the standard. Like it's time, right? Marc, it's interesting that you brought up the UCLA. It's just in Notre Dame. It's like so who's your other loss going to be? Because you got Utah at home this year too.
I said it. You've got to be going into Notre Dame undefeated.
Yeah, no, that's the truth.
So
We'll
I
see.
was early on.
pick a road game, I guess, is where they're gonna.
Early on, I was counting a slip up against potentially Arizona State, but Arizona State's in shambles now. So you know, we lose to them. They don't even want to be there right now.
Have half their coaching staff, right? Like
Exactly.
A lot of their, you know. So.
BYU maybe.
They lost.
Catch us
they lost
sleeping.
their best defensive lineman, Jermaine Lele.
Yeah.
So yeah, ASU. Yeah, that people thought maybe that was going to be it. Is Washington State a, you know,
Well, the only thing about that one, it is in Pullman. That's the only thing I would say. And we have had trouble in Pullman, you know, when what's his name lost in Pullman? Sam Darnold.
Friday night game though, right? It was a Friday night on the road.
It was Friday night game. So,
is Colorado a stumbling block?
We play that game in Coliseum. We're going to the playoffs. Colorado, no. Colorado's quarterback's hurt. Out for the season.
Yeah, that game is at Colorado, but yeah, that the presumed starter just got hurt, right? It looks pretty bad.
The quarterback got hurt. He's done.
So I guess that means what? Utah?
Yeah, Utah. I say Utah, BYU, Notre Dame.
And
BYU, I don't see BYU not with the new quarterback.
The only reason I include UCLA in the conversation, rivalry game, you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, for those of us who have been around, we've seen that quarterback from Santa Barbara come in and turn into a freaking All-American for a game.
Yeah.
John Barnes, whatever his name was. We saw 13-9 happen. That was supposed to be the easiest game of that 4-game stretch. And that kept USC out of the, championship game, the BCS championship game.
Yeah.
So shit happens when these two teams play.
Yeah, I'd say Chip Kelly is gonna be coaching for his life this season. So
This guy's making 1.2 million per win.
I would agree. I would agree. And DTR is no slouch at the quarterback position. They're always going to have a running back. They're always going to be physical. Yeah, UCLA won't be a look over.
Again, so Cal. I mean, are they gonna throw the fear of God into anybody right now? Because that game's in Berkeley.
Yeah, the game's in Berkeley.
Yeah, it is in Berkeley.
I mean, defensively, they're under Justin Wilcox. They've been good, right? Defensively,
and they're recruiting above their, above their pay grade right now. So, give them some credit.
Yeah. I mean, they've been improving, so I mean, it's really hard to tell. I mean, like you always say, though, I mean, our hardest games have always been, in the pack. There's familiarities there.
I'll say this: if we come out in that first game against San Jose, and somehow they're in it in the fourth quarter, that'll tell me everything I need to know about the season.
Yeah, it'll remind me of Western Michigan a few years ago.
And Fresno.
Yep.
And UNLV.
And BYU.
Man, no mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys got any hints about the alliance thing with the B1G and the ACC at all?
No, my whole thing on this is, look, this is just one step. It's just a Band-Aid until the NCAA is completely abolished and college football is the NFL's minor league. There is going to be a line in the sand drawn here. So this is all about TV and money. This is nothing to do about creating conferences.
Yeah.
TV
money.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. It's all about the TV market, and it's all about marketability. That's all it comes down to.
Look, Norman, Oklahoma is not a huge TV market, but the University of Oklahoma has eyeballs.
Yeah.
And so for marketing purposes, it sells. Same thing with the University of Texas. You're not going to get anything else like that from any of those other Big 12 teams.
That's why merging with the 12 made no sense. I mean, you weren't going to gain anything by bringing in, Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. The only thing that's even worth anything is Kansas basketball. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I have been a strong, outspoken person about this. The college game is over. We're just going through the motions right now.
Anything else?
That's it. Who do you? Well, I guess my only question before we go: who from the North will USC be playing in the conference championship game?
I hope it's Oregon.
Okay. It's not going to be Washington.
I think it's Washington. I think it's Washington.
Washington has the #1 easiest schedule in the entire country.
Yeah,
I read that the other day.
I posted it.
Oregon's got to play Ohio State.
Yeah, then Oregon with that quarterback situation.
Oregon's having some quarterback issues. Everyone
actually got their whole injury list, and it's pretty extensive.
Right? Yeah. That's funny that you said that, Mark. I was in our little group chat. I was kind of complaining about how many guys we have out every other day, and then I read Oregon's, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Ours is nothing compared.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And like I was gonna say, everyone, all of the insiders that report on Oregon football, what they're saying is the quarterback situation is there's one guy that's outplaying the guy that Cristobal already said was a starter. He said, hey, no matter what, this is our quarterback, but they said he is not doing well. So that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, well, Oregon will tell you they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So you know what? We'll find out. I think the team right now that concerns me is Washington.
Yeah, it does me as well. I mean, their defense is still going to be strong.
Their offensive line. So,
yeah. So
there you go.
I mean, what about Stanford? Stanford got anything this year?
Nah.
I had like 20 kids transfer.
Yeah.
I would love to see Oregon State go 6-6 this year. I would just love to see Oregon State go 6-6 and beat Oregon again. It would just be so much fun.
That's very possible. Oregon State's coach, I like him. He's fired. He's fired up.
You know, which is funny because when he was offensive coordinator at Washington before he took the head coach job at Oregon State, Washington guys couldn't wait to get rid of him. But then he's like Justin Wilcox. You know, he may not be that great of as good of a coordinator, but as a head coach, man, Wilcox figured it out. Looks like Jonathan Smith as well. All right, so we will see. You will also find out whether or not Rolovich is going to get the vaccine or not, so he can actually get paid and coach, or is he going to sit in the sidelines all day, all year long?
Right.
He said he's going to follow Washington's mandate, whatever it is. So,
Which means he's going to get it. I mean, would you sacrifice $3 million a year for your personal lease?
Good
yeah,
shot.
I'm gonna stay away from this subject right now, only because
Sign me up.
even though I'm vaxxed, I've got some pretty strong opinions on this whole.
Yeah, me too. I'm in the military. I don't even have a choice. And I got some strong opinions too. So yeah, I agree.
So on that note,
All right, guys. We done
All right.
here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mark, Josh, thank you so much for coming on, man. I always appreciate talking to you guys.
I'll do it anytime. Thanks again for having us.
Thanks
Appreciate it.
for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you,
All right.
guys.